This is Marquesa Pettway here, your host and the columnist for Speaker Toolkit, which is in Speaker Magazine. You guys should already know that. I am located in New York City, and I help entrepreneurs create six-figure signature systems and become what I call speakerpreneurs. Well, today I am interviewing, as always, a brilliant, smart guest that knows how to leverage the heck out of speaking. And today, guys, is no exception. This is a powerhouse. I have watched her career evolve over the years, and I'm just pumped. I had to get her here to share her magic. Welcome, Doreen Rainey.
Yes, thank you so much. I am thrilled to be here. I'm so excited to be able to talk to you today and just share with the community all about the world of speaking and business.
Well, before we start, I have to tell folks about you. You are a radical success coach and speaker. And I literally knew you because we work with the same coach for many years. But this woman, guys, put on these huge events with 5 and 6 major celebrities that were attended by hundreds of entrepreneurs. And then now, I guess he loved her so much that she's there most of her time. She's the vice president of operations for Steve Harvey. You guys all know who he is. A wonderful daytime talk show. He has so many titles, it would take over the whole interview. And Doreen is also very familiar with NSA because this is sort of where she got her start, correct?
Yes, absolutely. It was probably close to, 10 years ago. And I wanted to add speaking as a way to reach my audience as well as market my coaching practice. And NSA was the place to be. And I went to the DC chapter. And I just learned so much. I did their mentoring program. Willie Jolly was instrumental in pushing me along. Yes. And I actually ran their mentoring program for a year as well. And I just know that the information, the content, the tools, the systems, everything I learned during that time made a big contribution to what I've been able to accomplish in my business and in my career.
Now, that being said, Doreen, how do you use speaking? Like, what's your main, I'd say, 2 or 3 ways that you've been able to grow your business, grow your credibility, and your positioning by using speaking?
So I've used it a couple of ways. One, I've used it as a segue into my coaching. And I think that when you are able to get on a platform, get on a stage, and share with people who you are, what you're about, how you serve people, and then serve them in that moment, then it creates an opportunity to grow the coaching side of my business. And of course, when you are a new speaker, it can be a little challenging to grab those speaking engagements, to get into those areas that you want to have the opportunity to present. And so I decided to create my own. And that's where my conferences came in. And for 6 years, I did the Get Radical Women's Conference. And I just created my own platform.
And you did. But then, and not only, it wasn't a small little, conference room. You had the whole big, gigantic room, main stage, and all of these celebrity speakers. How did you do that? Did you just know all these people? Did you start with one and ask them who they knew or brought in sponsors? How were you able to put on such blockbuster events? Yeah.
Well, I will say that what I love is that when people can appreciate the latter years, but not understand the early years of the conference. And, I think young entrepreneurs, young speakers can fall prey to looking at what other people are doing and thinking, I can do that. And while you can do the practitioner part of it, speak, teach, train, coach, putting together that type of event for yourself or stepping out and doing what you see other people doing, you got to know some things. You got to understand some things about marketing and numbers and all of that, which I didn't.
All right.
And so early on, when I decided I was going to do my own event, I don't know if anybody can relate. I'm just going to out myself because I want people to understand what this journey is really like. You know, we can see the lights, camera, action, the success stories, but there are some bumps and bruises and scrapes and cuts that you get along the way. And early on my Get Radical conference train, my first event, I was so excited. It was a one-day event. I was going to speak. At the time, my coach was Valerie Burton. I don't know if people are familiar.
Oh, I know Valerie. She's an NSAer. Yes.
She was going to speak, and I'm just thinking, who wouldn't want to come to this amazing conference that I'm planning? And I put up this website and I got the location and I was telling everybody about it. And between family, friends, and at the time I was still working, a corporate job, I was like, ooh, okay, so I'm going to have at least 60 or 70 people there at a minimum. So I felt good about moving forward. Guess how many of those 60 or 70 people actually showed up?
Usually it's half. Was it about half of it?
I would have jumped with joy if I got half. It was a handful. And so when I began to market the conference, there would be weeks when no one would come to my website. Like I look at the stats and no one's coming. And I was like, okay, I'm missing something. And so if this is a route that speakers want to take in creating their own platform to get more visibility, to, get footage and reels and, all of that kind of marketing material that you need to really be a professional speaker, if you want to create a format to do that for yourself, you got to understand some other components. You got to understand marketing. You have to understand how to deal with venues and things like that. And so I almost decided not to have it. And then my husband said, he loves the music industry. So everything to him is an analogy in the music industry. And he's like, you're like a new artist. You might can sing, but that doesn't mean anybody wants to come hear you. So you need, just like a new artist, you need 16 bars. You need 16 bars from Jay-Z. You need 16 bars from a Kanye. You need somebody to give you 16 bars. And so that's what led me to think about who could I include that had a similar messaging that I had that could be a draw to help bring people out. And that's when we looked at celebrities and things like that. And I didn't have any big connections. I didn't have any big hookups. I'd ask myself, how much did I believe in this vision? How willing was I to invest in this vision? And did I see this route being something that could create something big for me, my business, and the people who came? And so that's what I did. And it started with one day. And, we had Jillian Michaels that first year. And over time, I was so grateful to be able to share my stage with Jillian Michaels and Susie Orman and Juliana Rancic and Niecy Nash and Judy Smith and, just these incredible, incredible people that ultimately reached thousands of people. People would come from all over the world to the Get Radical conference. And so in that platform, I created myself as a speaker. That's where I got my footage. That's where I was able to reach out to other people and say, I have this message about getting radical. This is what I speak about. And that opened doors for me to go into other places.
Wow, I love that. That makes so much sense. So I heard so many golden nuggets there from, it's not always what it seems.
Yes.
Do your homework.
Yes.
Start with one person and that you just leverage that.
Mm-hmm.
And it does help to say, hey, I have heard, do you want to come? And, making all of those work. But then too, Doreen, you didn't stop. I mean, you just go to the next level. I remember when I got your email in my inbox, I've been on your list for years, where you said, you know what, I'm going to shift. I have my radical coaching and I still have my institute, but what I'm doing is, I don't know how you announced it. It was so long ago. I'm bringing my institute under Steve Harvey. Now, first of all, that was amazing. I remember everybody thinking, look at her, look at what she's doing. But how did you make that decision? Like, what went into that thought process?
So, as part of my coaching practice, I had created an institute where people could go deep into learning, whether it's entrepreneurship or personal growth. I'm still old school. I still think you need a little bit more than 6 weeks or 90 days to get depth. Now you can get moving and get things accomplished in that time frame, and I help people do that. But sometimes you got to go deep. And so I had established this institute where I would take my clients through very in-depth programs around business and personal growth. And I'm also, as a coach, know the value of a coach. And so I've always had, I talked about working with Willie Jolly and the DC chapter and getting coaching around speaking, and then working with other coaches to get business. And at the time, I was in a mastermind with Lisa Nichols. And it was inside of that she watched me apply everything that I had been learning. She watched my business grow. She watched me understand the front end, the back end. She watched my integrity, how I conducted business. And she actually had the opportunity to work with Steve Harvey. And so she was doing some things with him. And at the time, his book was coming out, Act Like a Success, Think Like a Success. And he's passionate about the message of your ability to create the life of your dreams. But he also is committed to showing you what those techniques are. And he saw an opportunity based on this book to go out to the masses and do that. But he's a little busy. He's got a few other things going on. And she said, oh, I have the perfect person that could run this company for you. And that's how that connection came. And as we looked at what did he want to create in the world, how did he want to reach people, it was, well, hey, let's acquire what you have, and then let's pull all of our resources together and create something for the masses that could really transform their lives.
I've seen you on the Steve Harvey show sharing what this is, and he's got a new book called Jump. But what I love too, and I said this pre-taping, that you, although you support him and his dreams and his business model, but you're still getting radical with your own thing. So how do you do that? I mean, and I'm gonna tell you, folks that are listening to this going, yeah, I got a full-time job over here and I'm trying to do this, they're listening. Yes.
Yes. And, I think, first of all, and I just want to speak to who you just talked about, the full-time job and trying to build a business, you've got to prioritize your time, and you have got to make some tough decisions about what's important to you right now. And in this, my world, the great thing is that our messages are so congruent. What he wants to say and what I believe in. And my mission from the beginning has been to help people get radical. And I define radical as defining success for yourself, and
love it
part getting the guts to go after it. Because a lot of people can dream and do the vision board and write it down and get clear and say, this is for me and I know it's going to happen. But there's another piece. It takes guts to go out there and take the speaking world by storm. It takes courage to go out there and refine and retune your stage presence and your content. And it takes time and energy and effort and confidence and boldness to keep at it, to build a career. And so what's been great is that as a part of his organization, at his events that we do together, inside of the coaching programs and all of the things that he has going on, I get the opportunity to serve as a coach, as a speaker, inside of our, Facebook groups and inside of the Institute and inside of his Success Club. And so I'm able to still maintain Doreen Rainey, Radical Success Coach, inside of Steve Harvey, Act Like a Success. And it's almost scary how perfect this is. What an amazing opportunity. And it's an honor to be, held with that responsibility of getting his mission out into the world while not losing what I believe in and what I was put here to do as well.
Oh, I love it. I just got goosebumps. I'm thinking she's talking to me, because you just say you have to be bold. You can't worry about, I'm going to fail. You can't worry about haters. You can't worry about all those things that can distract you. I was listening to Osteen on Sunday. I go to Bedside Baptist, but I go to my own church too. The one thing he said is either you feed the fear or you feed the negative stuff or you feed the positive stuff.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
And that's what you talk about.
Exactly. And I love what you just said, because we have to face the F word. We have to face failure. I have had failures in my business. I have lost money in my business. I have had deals. As a matter of fact, a couple of months before the Steve Harvey opportunity came around, I had put together, I was about to implement one of the biggest deals my company had ever put together around a product and a product launch and some people I was working with, and it completely fell apart. I lost money, the relationship fell apart, the deal fell apart, and all I felt like was, man, this is a failure. I can't believe that this happened. You know, is it my fault? What did I do wrong? And everybody goes through that. Everybody has their setbacks and their failures. The question is, can you learn the lesson and move on? You know, are you going to, and you know, people say, you know, you have a choice. You can crawl in the bed, turn out the lights and close the blinds, or you can get up and move forward. And I said I would be transparent. I crawled in the bed, I turned out the lights, and I closed the blinds. But just for a moment, I came back out, and what I came back out to was now this opportunity. And I will tell you, the lessons I learned in that deal that fell apart have served me well moving forward, and some of the things I've done since then.
I just
want people to understand that it's normal. You know, the rejection is normal. Things that don't quite work out is normal, but you have to be making progress and you have to be learning every step of the way. And we have way more wins than we have losses, and that's how you build a business. That's how you
also, what I love that you do, Doreen, you're not afraid to evolve.
Right.
And that was a risk, deciding, all right, I'm going to spend all these years putting on my events. I'm known for this. Now I'm going to go do this under somebody else's brand. I mean, Steve Harvey is hot, but he is super hot now. Back then, you know, he was still working his way up. But for you to take that risk, you're a risk taker. What does that come from?
Because the risk of not doing is greater to me. You know, in my second conference that I did, I had Kim Snyder, and people might be familiar with her. She's part of NSA, and she said something that I never forgot. And while she was speaking to money, I just applied it to life. And she said that we live in a capitalistic society. Whether you like it or not, whether that's your chosen economic system or not, we live in a capitalistic society. And in that type of society, the only people that get the rewards are the people that take the risk. And so, no risk, no reward. And when you take a risk, the reward is not guaranteed.
That's true.
If it was guaranteed, it would be a sure thing and not a risk. And so when I look at business, when I look at people who want to build a speaking career, when I look at people who have a message they want to get out there, you have to take a risk, even at the chance of it not working out. That is the only way it happens. And believe me, if there was another way, if there was another way, I would be the first to tell you. You know, we talked about Steve as a new book, Jump, and he talks about taking that jump, that leap of faith. But he also says your parachute doesn't open right away.
That's true.
You know, that you're going to get cut up on some rocks. You know, you're going to have some tests and some trials. And that's the message, but the parachute does open. And so it's been an exciting journey for me, and it's exciting for what we have coming up in the future.
I am just, again, so proud of you. And I have one more question. In order, I find, and when I make these big moves, and yeah, I'm a loner, for sure, but I also love when I can reach out to my mastermind partners, other like-minded people, and have these real organic conversations with them. Do you find that that's one of your success keys, being, because you were part of Lisa Nichols' mastermind, and that's an investment, and clearly that really kind of created that way towards doing what you do now. But I really want you to say something about just that mastermind component.
Oh my gosh. It's so key. And out of all of the coaching programs, you know, over the years, has emerged for me a group of 6 other women who are multiple 6-figure, 7-figure, and 8-figure business owners that have become my mastermind group. And I actually just got back from Houston this past weekend, where, you know, we are the founding members. It's called the Legendary Collective. Mm-hmm. And they are the people who hold the space. It's not about how can we market together and how can we launch together. It's about what's happening in your business, what's happening in your life. And if you aren't masterminding with a group of people where their goal is to see you win, then you're missing out on a huge component, because that's the only goal, is to help each other win. That's key. That is key.
Love it. Well, how can all of the folks listening to this get in touch with you, Doreen?
Oh, I would love to hear from you guys. I'd love to know what your takeaways were from this session today, what stuck out for you. And I am easily found, DoreenRainey.com. And Doreen Rainey is also all of my handles on social media, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, because when we do these things, we like to know that it matters, that you have gotten something that will shift, adjust, change, move you in a new direction, whether it's 1 or 2 degrees or whether it's a full 180. And so I would love to hear what you guys got out of today's conversation.
Well, I know I got a lot. Hey, when I think about folks I want to interview, I'm always thinking, who do I want to get FaceTime with? And for sure, I knew that you would just drop it like it's hot with all of these amazing things. I appreciate it. Guys, also follow Steve Harvey, because you're going to get a lot of Doreen there, but she is a radical success coach, and we could have talked about so many things. I forgot to mention that if you do struggle with creating your own events, Doreen has her own program. I actually bought it, about how to create your own events. I don't know if you remembered that. So
yes, radically successful events.
There you go. So check her out. Thank you so much, Doreen, and keep changing the world like you do, and just never change, because we really appreciate you. And guys, check her out on speakermagazine.com. She will also be in Speaker Magazine, and we will see you next time.
Thank you.